Hi, I'm the lone journalist for KRAZ TV with another book for a book review. It's a darn good book because, well, this guy got to go everywhere in the world. Well, he had to find out all the data that he did. So, it's called The Lost Supper. Is that a pun or a play on words? Searching for the Future of Foods and the Flavor of the Past by Grescoe. Grescoe is the author of 8 nonfiction books and a widely read commentator at the interplay of food, travel, and the environment. His journalism has been published in the world's leading newspapers and magazines, including New York Times, The Guardian, Smithsonian, Gourmet, and National Geographic. He is a winner of the Writers' Trust Nonfiction Prize, the Mavis Gallant Prize, the LACP Award for Literary Food Writing, and the Edna Stabler Award, as well as a finalist for the William Saroyan International Prize for Writing and the Shaughnessy Cohen Prize for Political Writing. His magazine features have received honors from the North American Travel Journalist Association and the Canadian National Magazine Award. He lives in Montreal, Quebec. This guy really got concerned, and he said when his children came into the world, he wanted to show them and find something that would be a legacy. Well, food, he found out, and he's been going around a long time in food, really needs to be, diversified if we could. Anyways, the world can't sustain the way we eat today. Whether it's ultra-processed oils, factory farmed, or the monoculture wheat, industrial agriculture has increasingly dire consequences for the vibrancy of our planet, health, and our plates. While some look to high-tech solutions like lab-grown meat or transgenic produce, Grescoe argues that the future of our food lies in the diversity of the past. In The Lost Supper, Grescoe searches for the fascinating flavors, many forgotten or on the verge of extinction, that tell the story of civilizations. Aztec caviar from a vanishing lake in Mexico, garum, the secret umami ingredients of ancient Rome cuisine, acorn-fed feral hogs on one of Georgia's barrier islands, and camas, a staple of Northwest Coast indigenous peoples. He chronicles a growing movement of the archaeologists, farmers, and food producers who are unearthing and reviving the nourishing, delicious, and sustainable foods of the past, from Neolithic sourdough and farmhouse cheese to wild olives and long-thought extinct plants, along with chefs and enthusiasts who are bringing history alive in their own kitchens. A deep dive into the archaeology of taste and an impassioned manifesto for the future of food. The Lost Supper sets out a provocative case. In order to save themselves, we need to think and eat, much like our ancestors did. How true. He had to go all over the world. His roots were in Ukraine and Irish. And one thing he did talk about in Ukraine was Khorasan, butchering Russian. Anyways, it's the black soil that is in Ukraine that feeds everybody in the Middle Asia. And so, he talks about transplanted foods like the camas or bulbs. They only eat the blue ones, the white ones will kill you. and they take a long time. You got to have meadows, so they do controlled burns up in the Northwest, and they switched everything to potatoes. So the people are now eating potatoes when they had camas. They're up in the Northwest. All the fish are gone. You know, he said they catch 200 a day. Now they're lucky if they catch 10. So 95% of their food has gone by the wayside, and it's been incursions of the crown and all of that on their lands, and the white people, or not, well, I don't know, he had another term for them, about the voracious eaters. He said that there might be something in insects, but he said a lot of people just don't like to eat them, but they are high in protein and all. But you know, you got to watch it for that chitin and all of that, and frogs get their poison from eating accumulated poisons from eating beetles and flies and things like that. I don't know how much beetles they eat, but anyway, so you got to be careful. But they do cultivate, and there are whole farms that grow a lot of insects. But he has gone all over. He's gone to Turkey several times. He's met a lot of wonderful people, and all the people that have their little kitchens and gardens and seeds and have been saving have really helped him out and passed on some of their culture and their thoughts. So he's very passionate about it, and he's listened to a lot of people, and well, he's right. Something's got to change. He likes emmer wheat and einkorn. These are lost varieties, or darn near it. He's gone with Arabic people who learned how to make pitas and all of that in those round clay ovens. And Turkish people. He's gone to Italy. Puglia. He stopped there and met people, and they told him about the decline that's coming across the world in the olive industry, and it comes from Pierce's disease. Now in Arizona, I'm in the wine industry, or was, and our biggest thing in Arizona was the sapsuckers. And what it is, a little beetle goes in with a stylus and opens up a plant and injects. Well, it's sucking on the sap, you see, but while it's in there, it's injecting the bacterium. And it's causing this decline over the world, and it spreads like a wildfire. It's a mile a year or something. And probably this is not in this book, but probably the best, what they're trying to do is keep your grass mowed. If you keep the grass mowed and cleared out from around your plants, you have a better chance. So anyways, he's went to a lot of indigenous cultures and tasted what they tasted. He's done everything from rice and grains, and how is really agriculture was really our demise, because all we do is deplete the soil and all of that. So it's an ongoing story, and he's thinking that 10 billion is just about the limit for the load of the planet, and we still have to figure out how, people want to eat. A lot of people only eat once a day. America and all of those other folks that are developed, and I would say in those countries, we're eating 3 squares a day, or try to, or a lot of people do. So it's all over the board as far as how it's going to work out in the end. But I think Taras, hope I'm not butchering his name, Mr. Grescoe has really put his eye to it. Now, he went over to England, and then after the war, they were limiting cheese, and it wasn't until 1956 that rationing books finally went away, and by then there were hundreds and hundreds of cheesemakers, and they only came down to about 3 or 4 that were still left with the old farm cheese. Some used raw milk, and the cheddaring, Wensleydale. That was one of the most coveted cheeses. And he found a lot of the cheeses in London. Then they told him to go up north and go to the farms and visit the people and talk to them. So that's what he did. And he's got such sweet stories. He talks about the pork industry, how it got started, and how the big main general of Chinese pig is through all of the pork. Now, he did go to an island, Ossabaw. I think that's the name. I'll have to look it up again. But it's a little island that the Spanish left feral pigs, and now they said they've spread all the way from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Canada through all the different states and the forest and all of that. Said they've really become a big problem. So people are eating the barbecued pork and trying to wean out. They said there's like 2 million at least feral hogs in the United States even. So pretty amazing story. Oh, he went back to Mexico. He went to the British Columbia where he lived, but he said he was an outsider, but he actually listened to all the indigenous people there, and they have their own ideas. And I just noticed too, he talked about the disappeared up there and residential schools and all of that. We did a book review, or not a book review, but an expose of the tribunal, and talked about that. So, anyways, it is a concern, and heaping insult on top of injury is just the pale, you know. But anyway, I can rant about other things, but the book, The Lost Supper, has real insights, and he really brings back some of the old treasures and learning some of the skills, like learning how to make sourdough and grinding wheat and stuff by hand on a matate and a manos, the rock that took hours. So the women of the world that ground all that corn, we know where we came from. A lot of labor, and it's all from a labor of love. Thank you for loving this book like I did. I hope you will, because it's at your library. This is where we got it, at the Tucson Public Library, The Lost Supper. Searching for the Future of Foods in the Flavor of the Past by Tyrus Grescoe. Thank you, and I hope he comes to the Tucson Festival of Books, and we'll meet a lot of authors there. It's very famous. We're getting pretty big, and I have several shows and years that we feature other authors and writers. So go to our channel at KRAZ-TV and go from there to the links at YouTube and the Zero channel when you're there, because this is an adult side, and so it's kind of hard to find, but it is on our channel, and watch everything that we do. Thanks, and keep watching. It's The Lost Supper.